Honest Finance Group, you guys just played with the budget. What's your recommendation?
Well,
I think we leave it as is. I mean, that was as is, but we stuck it in at 100, that was it.
well, we know that it was in there for 100. We
Yeah.
didn't change it.
So I think we just...
If you'd like
What
to
do they do
raise
with the
it,
money?
Flowers.
all kinds of things for that.
Flowers?
Service.
Service.
Chris, flowers to what?
When they throw them over Riverside,
Oh,
or
yeah.
Yellow Creek here.
I think if you read the thing they sent out, they give some explanation of the various
Yeah.
things that it's used for. Did you get, everybody got it?
It's Songs of America Legion of Miami Valley Presidents 15 Memorial Day Incidentals are flowers from the McKinley Way Bridge Ceremony. Then honors those lost at sea, flowers from the podium at the Riverside Cemetery. Program refreshments at the post. Last year's cost was over $700. This letter requested $250.
Right, and that's what they used to get. I mean, I'm fine if you want to leave it at the 100. If you want to raise it, we can do that too. It doesn't, either way for me.
Well, let's leave it as is, since we did the budget this time. Pass the budget down.
And how does everybody else know? Leave it.
I know they always have the donation up there.
I mean, council members can always also donate personally if they're interested in doing that. Okay, so we will leave this and we can go ahead with it tonight, so we'll have it in time. The second thing coming out of finance is the insurance renewal. And this, you have a packet, everybody had a packet in their mailboxes. Our policy cost is going up $313, which we did really good on this because the majority of their clients went up 5%. We had a good year, got a lot of claims. They were willing to, Selective was willing to barter it down a little bit for us. So we went from $20,195 only up to $20,508. Actually, Bill and I met with the appraiser, and I think I commented on this at the last meeting, that the statement of values when it came in seemed to be not sufficient for the buildings. So Bill was kind enough to meet representing Land and Buildings, and I also met with the appraiser. We walked him through the building, and he came back with a new number. Then they sent this to Selective, and Selective put it through their computerized appraisal as well, and they raised it to $1,143,005 or $505. The other good thing about this, which I was not aware of, is that this policy for statement of values is a blanket, so that we could actually use more if we needed to from one of the other items, should that happen. So that makes a big difference for us too, right there. Okay, Joe, are you following what I'm saying? The statement of values sheet that's in here. So one of the things that I also picked up on was that the new street department building was valued really low. It was valued at $40,000. And my thought is that it was never probably appraised when it was done. Okay, so now you will notice that that one has been raised to $428,000.
What did they have in that?
Okay. 40,000.
140.
No, 40,000.
Okay.
So that building was never appraised. So that has been taken care of. And the other older street department building has been also raised to 144, 121. The gazebo remains the same. The tool garage for the Heinz Fund stays the same. They had also had a reduced number on contents. So I questioned that. They went back and they corrected that to match what it used to be. So we still have the almost $170,000 on contents. So this looks a lot better.
Yeah,
Did you have a question?
Yeah, is it still at $40,000?
No. The new street garage,
428.
428.
That's what I thought. Okay, I misunderstood.
Okay. And remember that this is a blanket policy, so that goes to our advantage as well.
Question the contents in the garage. It's just 12,000. What if we lost all our cruisers that are?
They're insured on
They're separate. There's matter of fact, is the auto policy in here? Did you copy the auto
The
policy?
limits are not the vehicles.
Yeah. The vehicles are on that other form.
So the 12,000 is the tool.
Auto liability. page 4. And as you go through here, you can actually see the breakdown of the amount of the premium for each individual, the property, the inland marine, crime, automobile, general liability, public officials. The law enforcement liability is the only thing broken out and sent to a different company, which is Scottsdale Indemnity Company. And they are the ones that have handled it for us the last several years. And that was the best matchup that they had for us again this year. So they do broker this for us with a couple different agencies, and they still feel that Selective is giving us the best deal and the best coverage that we've had. So if everybody is good with this, it's going to renew on May 21st. And are there any questions? Does anybody have a problem with it? Otherwise, I will bring a motion out of finance to renew this policy. Okay.
Anything new with it?
We've talked about for quite some time now about meeting with the meeting at the school. Mr. Janafe, superintendent, about this electrical issue over here, finishing that up. The crossing, the pedestrian crossing situation over here, which last Friday, my buses were pulling out of here. I thought I was in the process of witnessing the fatality. This kid ran out in front of the truck, and I thought for sure, we've got to do something about this. We've got to act on this. Because it's going to happen. These kids are just nuts out here, especially on Fridays. So we need to proceed on that. So Tim, I asked Tim to arrange to get to set up a meeting. You'd offer to do it representing Blooper, because since I'm an employee of the school, I should kind of back off a little bit. So we need a representative from streets to talk about this. Another, so you could do that and talk about. We've been talking about it for a while, right?
I got all the times that you said are good.
Okay, something else came up which you probably want to talk to them about. This is a graphic showing the new parking configuration at Union School. And you'll see, well, presently the buses pick up in front of the building and on the south end of the building where that loop is at. Because there's going to be more students there next year, what they're going to do is they're going to add an asphalt drive on the north end of the building. The buses will be going up that drive around the back lot where the playground is, and the buses will drop off and pick up there. So they won't be using that front area anymore. I went to the board meeting a couple of weeks ago, just out of interest in what's going on, and they presented this. And Dave, they said they talked to you about it, all the zoning issues on it. I did ask them, okay, what are you going to do about the front? Because right now there's diagonal parking there, which is nasty. We've been wanting to get rid of that for some time. This would be a great opportunity to convince them that it should be just parallel parking, parallel to the sidewalk rather than diagonal. So I suggest that when we have that meeting, push that, because I did ask about it, and they were kind of, well, that wasn't in the plans, but I think if we push it, now would be the best opportunity to make that happen.
Bill, if I may, we had a meeting with the architects and the school superintendent, building principal, and school maintenance director. I went with Russ, and we actually said that as a condition, that they would remove the off-street parking there at the front.
They were still a little iffy at the board meeting, so, well, yeah, but I just...
Bring it up.
Yeah, bring it up, push it, because that is not a good situation.
You said that as condition. Correct. That's approving this.
We'll use it as a bargaining chip. We obviously, with the police chief, we obviously do hold some weight in what happens. Obviously, I'm going to hold them to the requirements of the zoning code, but we do have a little bit of
Because
limit.
Noah said parallel parking, and you said no parking.
I'm sorry, I must have misstated. I'm actually referring to the back out parking. So it's perpendicular, it's currently perpendicular to the street.
So you'll
Yeah, it's
allow parallel parking to go.
I will defer to the police chief and his recommendations.
Well, one or the other, either get rid of it altogether or make it parallel.
We have to be on the same page.
Let's consult with Russ on that.
And there's, you can see parking on the side of those buses are coming in their spots.
Yeah, that is not the scale there, that's strictly
Yeah, those are
north
homes
here.
right there on 224, their backyards.
That's school.
That's Linda's old house.
They're actually going to make it wider than what that appears.
I mean, how far away are they from property lines, they say?
But they've
Yeah.
got it all.
Oh, so I brought a walking wheel, we walked everything off. When it comes to driveways, driveways are actually allowed to be all the way to the property line, and they're off of the property line. Yeah, that's how a drive is written into our zoning code.
And this is a great plan. I commend the school for coming up with this, because this is much safer. But let's strike that right inside and get what we want to do.
Right. One of the concerns that I had was actually making a curb cut as close to 224. And when we did the walk-off, I mean, they're more than 30 feet away from the curb, or from the intersection. So
So how many buses, then, what, 2 buses? When they pull out of here that can line up at the light? When they pull out of,
They're going to pull up.
oh, they're coming out the
They're going to go,
existing.
they're going to go all the way around the building.
Coming out of the north side.
Right now, they're
The
parking.
original, or the existing.
Right now, we're parking, there's like 4 buses that park in front of the school, parallel, and there's no parking there during those hours, no car parking. But, and it's not too bad, but it's a little messy.
Looks nice.
But during the day, the cars parking there, perpendicular, it's a mess.
I thought this was negotiated.
One is enough room to spare.
And then they'll allow you to go either right or left out of the drive.
Yeah, because buses do need to go both ways. But the plan they put together, it's a great
So
plan.
they're planning on keeping Pulling Union.
In fact, they just okayed funds for an elevator in the building. It's for handicap, in order to meet the code, handicap accessible.
There's one thing that I thought about it, and we should talk about it in my report, with the historic building ordinance that we're talking about would affect, I believe, both schools. And I've heard different stories, and I don't know which is true or not true, about the plans of Poland schools about closing these or tearing buildings down. But we should be in communication with the board as we progress, because that might affect what they can do and what they want to do at the end of the day. I would hate to see them make a plan
Yeah.
and then us have a building that they can't tear down. I don't think they should, but it could affect their plans, and they should know where council is in this whole thing.
I can speak to the current zoning on demolitions, if you're interested. So the current zoning on demolitions gets approved by the zoning administrator on buildings that are not of historical significance. Okay? If the building's of historical significance, it goes to the architecture review board for review and for a vote. There's a 90-day cooling off period, while during that time other avenues are sought. That's the way it's written. So there currently isn't anything that says that we have the ability to permanently stop.
Does that apply for the school buildings?
Yeah, I mean, there isn't
I
anything.
thought there was some kind of,
I think there might be special
There is
provisions for...
Tell me more.
Yeah.
there was something else with
We're
this.
looking at the Ohio Revised Code, there might be, I think there's special provisions for schools.
Okay. I didn't know that.
That exempts them?
I think
don't
it's
know.
only civil cities. Because we talked about other things, about occupancy, and we didn't have to say over it because it's a school thing.
You check on that, though.
During the forum that the school had about a month or so ago, and I don't want to give false information here, so I'm a little apprehensive, but it's my understanding is that they can abandon the building, okay, and before it gets torn down, they have to offer it up for sale. That's my understanding. Don't hold me to that. You're right. But I believe that's what Mr. Janife said during the forum.
Yeah, he can just abandon it.
Right, so,
But they'd still be responsible for keeping it in.
Right.
You know, they just can't walk away
They
from it,
can't
allow it to
just
deteriorate.
repair it.
Right. That's just basic.
so I was contacted by Lenore Zedekor, we're going back about 2 months now, and I did bring this information already to the board, or I'm sorry, to council. And she asked basically that question, what can we do with it if we were to sell it? And I said, well, it's a non-conforming use. I said, every one of your buildings in the village predates our zoning code. Our zoning code is 1978, and the last one that was built would be mid-60s.
No, 72, I think.
Okay, on North Elementary.
High school 72, wasn't it?
Yeah, high school is 72.
That's not in the village.
Right, it's not in the village.
Okay.
I'm talking about North Elementary.
North
being the
Elementary
latest.
was, then the McKinley was,
Added on to it.
well, McKinley was built in the 59, 60, I believe.
So basically, they all predate our zoning code, and they're all built in R1 districts. That's where they are. So the land underneath the building is zoned R1. That's it.
But then, and this is why it becomes relevant and important, anything that the historic ordinance contains or defines as historic, and they're trying to figure out the number, whether it be 50 years, 100 years, can be captured, or will capture these buildings, possibly.
That's probably not going to be the case.
That it won't have a
There's
time,
not going to be a time frame.
what will define it as historic?
The board's determination, the new board, the Historic Preservation Board, would make a determination on any, isn't this what we talked about? And this is what the state has recommended to us. The board would determine what is historic.
So it's arbitrary?
On an individual basis.
On an individual basis. And there's going to be options, owner options as well.
Interesting.
Owner consent.
And this is all based on what's legal and what is found its way through
There are two
court
things,
system.
and I've only looked a little bit, and I think from my reading of the less arbitrary the law is, the more chance it has of being constitutional. Because the taking provision or the provision that talks about how you can direct someone's property, the less that's subjective, the more likely the ordinance is legal. That's my reading of it. But there's two districts that I think the village should pay heed to, South Range and Austintown. Because they did this very same thing in both districts. They built these new campuses. You have two historical buildings that one is sitting completely abandoned in Austintown on Mahoning, rotting. And then you have the one in South Range that has been turned into like a little flea market type thing. There aren't a lot of options for these old buildings.
Those probably aren't R1 zoning, I wouldn't think, though.
Probably not on the avenue, considering.
What would be the advantage for a citizen wanting to enter into the historical society to be recognized as a house?
Oh, there's available grants and it's recognition. It's a recognition.
There won't be an option.
No, there will be. There will be. There will be enough. It's looking like, and this is coming from the State Director of Historic Preservation, and he's advising us now on what will fly legally.
It's a big difference in voluntary and involuntary taking.
Right.
That's a key element of this.
So
This is still in.
Because I'm thinking of my house. There are different stories of my house. And it may qualify, but what would be the advantage of me pursuing it? That's my question.
I really don't want to get into this because There's so much in the air, up in the air right now about this legislation. I don't want to sit here and talk about specific sites and what it's going to do.
I can just give you an insight. In Canfield, when they put it in, the 4 council people who voted for it got voted out the next election. That's all my comment.
Because it wasn't arbitrary, or
Well, it's just this slide of people. They just didn't like it.
because they didn't have the opt-out?
Yeah, it just was incredible. Bob Buchanan was the architect. I know quite well. It was a mess. And they just got voted out.
Well, it's residential.
So you see you see both sides of the coin, because on one hand, you have buildings that need care and they need things to be done, and you do get grants and these different things by being designated historical. So you do have a degree of oversight or assistance that a village or historical society can give. On the other hand, if you don't have anything like that, then these old buildings, like these schools, there's nothing that can stop anyone from doing things that the majority of the village or population thinks they shouldn't do. I mean, in Poland, one of the main reasons, one of the things I've learned from being on the solicitor for a while, we're very slow to change things. We like things as they are to a degree, but we respect our history. And that's I've heard that loud and clear from everything we do here. And this is gonna test this plan of the school and this historical. This is gonna get a barometer on both of those sentiments in the village, and it's something that council, should tread on very carefully. Just keep both hats in mind as to how we're going right now.
Getting along with Bill's stuff, I did talk to David Janife this week, and I said, we're going to have a meeting tonight. Throw me some times that work for you next week, and I'll see what we can come up with. So he said Monday, anytime until 3, Wednesday, anytime afternoon, and then Thursday and Friday all day. Can you do something in the day, or has to be after hours?
That whole week I'm out. So you could send Joe, I guess.
Pick a day.
All those work for you, Linda, in those times? Not good?
Not Thursday. Well, I could do Thursday morning, but not Thursday afternoon.
What's good for you? Any day?
That looks okay, yeah, any day.
Or any other day.
He's gonna come here?
I haven't ironed that out. Either we go there or he comes here. We'll do Thursday morning then?
Or I can do any other day.
What do you think, Joe? Thursday morning works?
Let's give it a go.
All right. I'll talk to him and get a time and we'll figure out where we're going to go.
Want me to get Eleanor's extra?
If you want to.
What time? What time?
I would leave that up to you.
I'll shoot for 10 o'clock. I'll just tell him 10 o'clock. And I'll verify where it's going to be.
Okay,
Right?
sure.
Anyone else have anything?
Linda, you recall the issues with the electrical?
Yes, and I actually wanted some advice from our solicitor on that and how we should handle that, because we sent the letter to the superintendent. We have no response. It's been months. No response. We're getting closer and closer to celebrate. We need to get this resolved. We either need their permission, formal permission in writing to show our electrician so that we can get this fixed. Should we offer to pay half of it so that we can get them going if money is the issue?
If you can, give me the letter you sent, and I'll follow up with a call tomorrow. And I'll ask to speak to the superintendent and try to make some headway. Because I don't...
Whatever.
Yeah, I remember the outline of the issue. I don't remember the details. The letter will happen, and then I can talk to the superintendent and find out where they stand. It's going to require their board action, I'm sure. And we are in May already. So I want to, why I'm not going to wait to write a letter. I'll just call tomorrow and I'll get going on it. So you want to email it to me? or-
Yeah, I gotta find it. And the more I'm thinking about that, I think they had Ken Ekus, who's their director of services, sort of investigated it. I'm sure we told them of that, but I don't know if there's a letter. I'll look.
All right, just let me know. If not, I'll just call tomorrow.
I have a letter if you need it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely a letter.
Email it to me if you can.
Okay.
I'll call tomorrow.
Basically what it is that some of the electrical work out there leads from our service to their service right across,
Other way around.
other way around. And
When
we-
they fixed
Right,
it, they took it from their new service
right.
onto village property and then back over to school property. It's a very strange setup. And our electrician advises that it be removed from their property onto our property. Now, it's not hooked into our electric anymore, but why they brought it back onto our property at all is what the electrician can't understand either.
Celebrate Poland?
Yes. Well, I can't say that. I can't, you know what, I don't know
Yeah, it's
who...
Bob Black did the
Yes,
additional work.
he's the one responsible for doing it. So I don't think it's fair to say celebrate Poland because,
I
you know,
Right, yeah, right.
we are not being charged for electric from that service since it's been corrected, but it's not really corrected because there's a live wire coming from school property onto village property.
Where did it end?
It ends right where it comes in close to the box. And then it's routed back out in two directions, back onto school property.
And what does our electrician recommend?
He recommends that it be removed from school property onto our property. It shouldn't be coming on our property at all. We're not paying for electric for this. This is their property. If they want to participate, they should pay for what's on their property just as we pay for what's on our property. And we shouldn't have live electric coming from somebody else's property onto our property. So, you know, he's saying if you know, you're going to get permission from them, we'll come in and do it if you have written permission from them to fix it, or they can fix it, but we're getting no response from them to fix it.
Yeah, Linda, excuse me, Andrew, go ahead.
No.
We've been discussing this for too long.
Too long, right.
Let's get somebody over here, maybe Thursday morning. We can iron this out.
When we call tomorrow.
Well, that's what
Can you do that?
We get sworn in, we get permission.
That's the purpose of the meeting.
It's 7:30. Let's stand for pledge allegiance.
Just that one.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call of members.
Mr. Cassett?
Here.
Mr. Donovan?
Here.
Attorney Limmer?
Here.
Mr. Major?
Here.
Mrs. Cernick?
Here.
Mrs. Yash?
Here. Okay, I make a motion to excuse the police chief last meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Acceptance of the minutes from the previous council meeting.
Before we leave that, does everybody know Russ's dad is in bad shape again? He's up in the Cleveland Clinic, he's got internal bleeding and all that. He's fighting for his life. So pray for him. Okay.
Make a motion that we accept the minutes of the meeting as written without reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Excellent.
Abstain.
Notifications of meetings and events to the public and news media. Blooper.
Which will be before the next council meeting on the 19th at 6:30.
Finance.
Not scheduled currently.
Legislation.
Nothing.
Police.
Nothing.
Streets.
Next council meeting at 6:30, which is the 19th.
Boards. ARB.
We meet the first Thursday of every month, Village Hall, 7 p.m. There is not an agenda at this time.
Planning.
Planning is scheduled for the 20th at 7 o'clock here.
Board of Zoning Appeals.
Nothing scheduled.
Western Reserve Fire District.
Western Reserve Fire District, our next monthly meeting is next Wednesday, May 13th at 7:30, Station 92.
Forest Board.
Nothing.
High Memorial.
We're scheduled for the 21st at 9 a.m.
Report from Mayor. A couple things we talked about already about the dates with JNFA, so I'll keep everyone abreast of where that's going to be and what comes out of that. Assume everyone got something about the parade, which is going to be May 25th. Same as always, meeting up over here at 8:30, and the parade will start at 10 o'clock. Jeff's going to do that this year, and then next year I don't know what's going to happen with that, but he's still running it this year. The April court report has been processed, and April got that letter from Al Saleen I saw about his retirement. That's in June. He's retiring finally.
Did we come to our homes?
I came here is where I got mine. No, actually it was my house.
Okay, I thought I saw something.
Wednesday, June 17th from 11 to 1 at Bruno's.
11 and 1, June. What day is that falling?
Wednesday. RSVP by June 3rd. So you should probably get this at your house.
Yeah, I saw something up on it.
And that's all I have.
Nice.
Motion to approve the mayor's report.
Second?
All in favor? Any opposed? Report from fiscal officer, Mr. Cerny.
Okay, you have in front of you a report that is dated 4/21 of 15. That's the one that you received when I wasn't here. It had the wrong thing on it, date on it. So that's just for your information. I'm circulating around the list of bills to be paid. We have received advance number 5 from the county auditor in the amount of $81,000. Regarding the tree assessment from the trees on South Main Street and Riverside, the total cost was $2,300. The first half settlement that we just received was the amount of $1,150. So we'll receive the second half in the second settlement of this year. Finally, unbeknownst to me, we received an estate tax of $58,551.28. It was probably one that's been out there waiting to be finalized, and from all indications, it was finalized. Now, the auditor's office has recommended that we do not spend it until we get by the second half distribution, which will be in the fall. There was a local entity in Mahoning County that received one last year, and they ended up filing an appeal or something, and they had to give some of that money back. So we should just hold off on spending any of that $58,000 until the fall of this year.
Seriously, that happened. I've never seen that
I
happen.
believe that Anthony Magnetta told me it was the city of Stanfield, but I don't want to say for sure.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, it would not be good if we spent that money and then had to somehow give money back. That's it. I'll end the report.
Motion to accept next report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Anything from Deputy Clerk?
Oops.
All right. Report from Zoning Administrator.
Okay, briefly, I worked with Gary Fiorio on getting an application submitted to the Ohio EPA for stormwater, basically recertification for the stormwater that leaves our property. It was delayed, but we got it taken care of, so we're in compliance. There was a $200 check that needed to be cut by Nick. He cut it and sent it in. The way it was explained to me by Gary Fiorio is that the Ohio EPA comes out with requirements, new requirements all the time, and if you don't keep abreast, well, then you get left out. They're not into the education business. But like I said, we got it taken care of, and everything was good.
If I may?
Yes.
I phoned back down there again to be sure that they received it. They received it. We're all good on their end, but that check has yet to, clear our bank. And they said it was processed on April the 13th. Should have gone through by now. I've advised farmers, so we're just waiting for it to all get in the wash here.
Well, thanks for following up.
Okay.
End of report.
Motion to accept.
Second?
All in favor? Any opposed? Report from solicitor.
One more thing. I saw here from Ohio Valley Waste Service. Mayor had sent a letter about the garbage collection license fee.
Oh, this gives us need to send out to all the people. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sent a letter back saying they're not subject to it because of the Supreme Court case, I don't know, it's Panther 2 Transportation versus Village of Seville Board of Income Tax Review. The Ohio Valley Waste should not be subject to the Village of Poland's garbage collection license fee because the company is a motor transportation company registered with the Ohio Public Utilities Commission. According to analysis of the above referenced case, the Ohio Revised Code precluded municipalities from levying license fees, annual payments, or license taxes on motor transportation companies registered with Ohio PUCO. Has anyone ever disputed this fee before?
It was $100, right?
That part was missing, but I'm
I
guessing.
think it is. Yeah, I've never heard anything.
Who's the company?
Ohio Valley Waste.
Yeah, we just received this back this week, and she gave it here to me. We've already gotten back 3 so far.
And they've paid it?
Yes. And this one showed up, so I'm sorry, Rudy, your mouth.
That's okay.
So they pick up refuse in our town,
Yeah,
but they're saying that
that's why they got one
they
of these
don't
letters.
have to
They're saying
pay
that
the...
because they are a motor transportation company and they're registered with the Ohio Public Utilities Commission, that they are not subject to a fee, a license fee, a collection fee. That they are not subject to levying fees, license fees, annual payments, license taxes, or other money extractions.
That's a new one to me.
Yeah. When was this case? What year?
March of 2014.
New law?
So, I don't know, I have a couple thoughts on it.
Yeah.
I imagine you, yeah, I would.
Don't cash the checks.
Well, they didn't send one.
No, the
The other
other
one.
The others are...
Because I can't believe a big company like Waste Tech or that didn't
Wouldn't know
about
this.
it.
Mhm.
So Ohio Valley, they're what, the red dumpsters? Are they red? Yeah, they've been showing up a lot, I've seen, so I don't know who they are. They acquired another business. I can't believe the biggest one, Waste Management or whatever that is, didn't know about this.
I'll take a look.
Yeah.
That's it.
Motion to accept the solicitor's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Chief of Police and Street Commissioner, we have no report that I saw. Report from engineer.
Well, I have nothing. You talked to Gary. so-
Yes.
Reports from outstanding committees of council, finance, wage, audit, and insurance.
Okay, coming out of finance at the next meeting will be a resolution to request the county auditor certification of a 2-mil street levy for the amount that will be generated. So we're at step number 1. Okay? Once he does that, we have to make a definite decision about doing this. And remember, now we're going to be under the gun time-wise. We missed the one for spring. August the 5th is the filing deadline. Okay, so once we get this back from the county auditor's office, then we'll generate the ordinance to place the levy. We need 3 readings on that. No emergency on that. And then that will have to be certified by August the 5th. And I realize we're running into vacations and all of that sort of thing, but we're going to need to have three meetings with a quorum so that we can get that on the ballot.
In November
Right.
ballot.
Correct.
Okay, how many mil?
2 mills, Joe? Each mill about $57,000. We'll see exactly, though, what that number is when we get this response back. But we do have to do a resolution first in order to send this to the county, and so I will present that at the next meeting.
Good.
Is there anybody who is against doing that?
Against...
Against putting the 2-mil street paving ordinance on?
Well, we got to work hard because we were turned down last time, you know that.
Right. The roads are much worse though now. And they're certainly not getting better.
When I was walking the neighborhoods for my petition, that was the number one concern, was our roads. And the one girl said, when I was out walking in November, she fell in one of the holes and broke her nose.
Broke the nose.
She tripped over.
Wow. She's not suing us or anything.
Well, I'm saying where that was. That was Aqua, Ohio's big old mess down at the end of our street. You know, where they tear up the street and then they fix it a little bit. That's where she fell. And I'm thinking, oh, we didn't hear about this on the council. But that was, everyone's talk was our streets on that day.
That's all I have out of finance.
Motion to approve the finance report?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Legislation and policy?
Nothing.
Police and fire?
Nothing.
Street, sidewalks, and drainage?
Nothing.
And blooper?
Nothing.
Reports from boards, planning commission?
Nothing.
Board of zoning appeals?
Nothing.
Architecture review board?
Nothing at this time.
Forest board?
Well, we had a meeting the other night, the 28th, with Mike Keher from Republic, you know that, and Jim Raymond, he's a forester at Mill Creek. And first of all, we have it all ironed out that Russ and Mike are going to work together to fix the paths down in the woods, you know, where they're caving in and all that stuff. He's going to help us.
Great.
Yep. And another thing I talked to Mike about right here was what you'd like to get one garbage collector in the village. Well, we just can't do it right now because Republic picks up all the recyclables for nothing. And they got a deal with the county that it's open so that nobody can really undercut it. You can call Mike here, but he's got a deal that it's open, you know. They just don't have Republic.
We talked about this months and months ago.
Yeah, we did. But Dave was concerned about
They
that.
basically said if we try to lock him out, he's going to pull the free recycling service. That's
Yeah, that's what it amounts
summary
to.
of it all.
And that'll kill him with the county. Yeah.
And then our residents will have to pay for recycling.
Correct.
Yeah, right. So we have to put up with a little noise right now. He's a cooperative fellow, and he told us about the $5,000, and you know, every year in perpetuity, it's going to go on forever.
Yeah.
We hope.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
That would help.
Yeah. And then Jim Bramer from Mill Creek. You know, we got a problem with the Emerald asphalt. A lot of trees are dead. Well, he's got a guy that he works with in Mill Creek. Hirschberger is his name. He lives in Middlefield. And he can come in there and take some of these trees out with horses, you know, not tear things up. And he estimated that we could get $30,000 to $50,000 just from the dead trees.
But they're infected with bugs?
They're dead, yeah, from the emerald ash borer.
Really?
Yeah. But we got 265 acres in the woods.
If you remember the deed, it says we're allowed to work the woods for profit.
Yeah, that's a deal.
It doesn't say we're allowed, it says we shall work for the woods.
Yeah, it's self-sustaining. Right. So anybody, think about that, because I told him I'd bring it to the council and we would discuss it. But apparently these ash trees just come down, boing. Yeah, for some reason they're brittle, and they take the wood out and they make boards, and we keep track and they keep track for us how many boards they get, like that, and we get compensated for that. So think about it.
Is this the Amish?
Yeah.
The Amish guys. This fella, Johannes Hirschberger, lives in Middlefield, Ohio, and he does all that for the Mill Creek Park.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And this Jim Bramer, we want to put him on the board, right? I think he's a great asset.
Should be.
He's a forester for Mill Creek. A good guy, too. He's been here before.
He's not on the board there, he's just a tree commissioner.
No, he's just a...
I know he was on board.
No, but we gave, what type of title did we give?
Tree commissioner.
Tree commissioner, yeah, for the whole village, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just for the...
He's pretty smart, and he would
He is.
definitely be an asset.
A really good guy. So how do we want to do that?
Oh, is there an opening, first of all, on the forest board?
Yeah, well, I think so. I think,
Oh, isn't,
yeah,
Shipsky.
Jack Shipsky. Jack is gonna, he's okay with retiring
so he's
from the
going to
board.
step down?
Let's see, Bob Elias talked to him, as I remember.
Okay.
He said, it's okay, I don't need it, you know?
Yeah.
So we could put Jim in there in Bob's place, right?
Shipsky.
Shipsky, Jack Shipsky's
Yep.
place.
Yep.
But you should probably talk to him,
Okay.
yeah, to make sure everything's okay.
All right.
All right, that's all I got for the forest. Oh, the forest board's got a lot of things going on. We got Thatcher Trail, Monty Bridge, the sewer line. How about the sewer line? Bob, have you been down there and taken a look?
Yeah.
Have they graded anything?
A little bit, you know.
The bluebells are really
Oh, they're in.
nice right now. They're
Oh, it's
gorgeous.
prime time.
Yeah. Butler Trail, we got washouts there. Okay, we got to take a trip down by the Zediker Pavilion. I guess it's going to fall down and wreck something. I guess that's all. I give like I do. I give everybody a copy of the minutes.
Motion to accept the forest board report?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Pine Memorial
Nothing.
and West Reserve Fire District.
Nothing.
All right, reports from special committees. Communications from residents.
Take a minute of your time, if you don't mind. This past Monday, I noticed in the Youngstown Vindicator, they have a section in there about years ago, what was going on. This Monday, back in 1965, Poland Village, Councilman Chet Hunt announces plans are underway for the 100th anniversary celebration in 1966 of the village's incorporation. Robert L. Light, president of the Firemen's Association, reports a parade and firemen's ball will precede dedication of a new Main Street fire station. So that got me curious, and I dug into some of the stuff we have out at the Little Spread Schoolhouse. Don't have enough copies, I'm afraid, for everybody, but these are the programs from the actual three-day celebration that was held in 1966 in the village of Poland. It was a big event. Governor Rhodes came and spoke. You'll see it's in the program here. The congressman at the time was here, and it was a big thing. That's when the Centennial Guards were established. Some of you have seen the nice history book about Poland called Poland Historical Highlights. Chet Hunt and a bunch of other people put together. That book sold for $3 back then. Now you can't buy one, you can't find one. So we're coming up, as I said before, now on the 150th anniversary next year of Poland Village. As I mentioned, the Historical Society is working on an application for an Ohio historical marker to be placed out here somewhere. One side will talk about the incorporation of Poland Village taking place in August of 1866, and the other side will talk about this building, Town Hall, the Kennedy House, and how it became the Town Hall. So the text for that marker is pretty much done. Now we're writing what they call a statement of significance to prove that it's important enough to get a marker. They've changed the dates in Columbus for some of these things so that now that would not be approved until early fall, and we probably would not plan to even dedicate it until 2016, maybe as kind of an opening thing for Celebrate Poland next year. Even though August 7th, 8th, and 9th or so were the dates last time we did it. So that's in the works. Some groups that I go to in town are talking about the 150th celebration and if we're going to do anything, and I don't know. You'll notice in there, gentlemen and ladies, council and the mayor played a heavy role in a lot of the activities that took place at that time. The other thing I wanted to bring up, you guys were talking about the preservation ordinance a little bit earlier. I've been paying attention to the school news too. The latest plan that I see, they call it the segmented plan through the state, where we don't do everything all at once. In other words, we're excluding the high school, but the other buildings will be taken care of. Part of what they talk about in there for the buildings that won't be used anymore is abate/demolish.
What? Say that again?
Abate/demolish. I guess abate means what, not use it anymore? But the ordinance, as we presented at the Planning Commission at one time, did have a term in there called demolition by neglect. So if you abate something, does that mean in time it's demolished by neglect? I'm just throwing it out. I'm not trying to stir up any trouble because I see the school boards have done with the older buildings. There's also a question as to the age of those buildings. The part you see from the street isn't the original building, of course, anymore. They've been added on to, and there are some parts inside that go back to the original dates of construction, but it's not certainly the original building. I told the school board when I was asked at a meeting too, you know, I'm a realist and I can see their reasoning about not wanting to pour good money into bad, because if they try to keep repairing middle school, for example, the furnace system's in terrible shape. It's going to take a lot of money to do that, and who knows what else is going to happen a couple years down the road. But anyhow, I was curious to see where you are with the preservation ordinance, because if we had one, it could affect those two buildings, Union and the middle school. The other thing I'd like an update on, I haven't been to the last few meetings, I haven't seen anything in the paper, is the house on Poland Manor. That still continues to look very unsightly. I go to the Presbyterian church there, pull out of the back parking lot every Sunday, and sometimes more than once a week. Pretty much looks the same as it has for months there. I'm wondering, is the owner being punished in any way?
I have an update on that. There was an initial pretrial held at Struthers Municipal Court. I was not subpoenaed for it, actually, surprisingly. But there was a pretrial. The prosecutor, Dominic Leone, had a discovery with the defense attorney, who happens to be the owner's brother, and another pretrial has been set. That's as far as I've got.
At the present time, is he being fined according to our ordinance?
Not on a
just a
daily
one-time
basis.
fine we did?
According to the way we read it is, it says that it's a separate offense every day.
Yeah.
But the way I understand it is, it's very hard to enforce.
I don't know, Joe and Mr. Attorney, remember you live on the manor. Do you hear from residents up there about?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. How do you respond to
Jenny
them?
Phillips is ready to kill me, but, you know, hey.
I stay in my house.
It's terrible, but nothing's going on.
That's the thing.
We got to move something here. I know you're tired of me talking to you about it, but we got to do it. We got to do something. Anybody, I ask anybody, you got a solution? You got a suggestion? Well, I don't know. You know.
Maybe it lies with the courts. It's, I think, what we had a case previously where finally the court got involved and things happened.
And part of the solution could be with the courts. They do move slowly.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised, David, you weren't subpoenaed to the first pretrial. I would have been surprised if you had been subpoenaed to the second pretrial. You know, that just doesn't. The only time you're going to be brought into it is when there's going to be a hearing or a trial. They'll want to know what we think, but. Now, one interesting thing, though, to talk about solutions, is someone approached me, and I don't remember who it was now, about buying the house, getting a group together and buying it. And I can't remember who it was now for some reason, but it was a gentleman. It was someone that lives in that area, and he wondered if the gentleman, Mr. Barnard, might sell it. And I said, if I do talk to him, I'll throw that out there. I thought, about that a year ago, that I don't know what the value is. I know that there was a lot of damage to the home, a lot of work needed done. He obviously can't finish it. He doesn't have the money to do it. But there's got to be someone or a group or an investor or a realtor or a construction developer that could finish that and get it done and sell it. So we're going to collect it.
It's quite a mess. There's nothing inside, nothing's done inside. We got the plans. It was supposed to be a $1 million edifice, with elevators and wine cellars and all that stuff. Nothing. So I've talked to the guy many times and his lawyer, but that was, before you got involved here. threatened, I did everything, but he don't have the finances. That's the problem.
But you know, the other weird thing about it, like, he spent all that money on those shrubs,
Yeah.
and that had to be...
They're $50 $75 a piece.
Yeah, I priced it at $3,000 to $5,000 by the time he did what he did.
Yeah.
Why not just landscape it and get the dirt filled? Why do you put it on that to cover something up? Why don't you just address the problem? I don't know. There's not a lot of logic in what I see going on over there. I understand it's kind of troubling. We're trying to give him logical solutions. We prosecute him, and I can't figure out how to motivate the guy.
Well,
Needs an incentive of something. I don't know what it would be. Some kind of incentive.
well, anybody, would you like to have a meeting with Jenny and, and Anthony, or see what we can, and this guy, Barnheiser?
I don't think we can meet with him now. We're in a lawsuit.
Now you've got a lawyer.
Can't do that? Can't do that? Can't do that?
But now that the weather is broken again, I would hope that they would.
I look every day, Bob.
I do too.
If somebody would be up on the scaffold, but it don't happen.
Do you know when the next pre-trial set?
I don't.
Maybe we can find that out.
I can definitely find that out.
I'll go, Dave, if you give me the date, I'll go down. I'll see if I can talk to him along with Dawn to see.
Didn't the solicitor come to one of your meetings a while back?
The prosecutor.
Prosecutor, yeah. Maybe if he could be invited to come and urge him maybe a little more, I don't know.
Yeah, I talked to him. I talked to Don, and I tell him of our frustration, so he knows.
Yeah.
To him, when he's dealing with robberies and this and that,
Small town.
this is why are you bothering us? They're not going to say that, but I know that that's what they say.
All right, well, hopefully something will happen.
Yeah, Dan Becker's daughter, Kelly right across the street.
I know.
And she would like to kill me. But I can't, what can I do,
Yeah. I understand.
If you can think of something.
I don't have the idea either. I thought maybe a legislative body somehow could enforce something. I guess you're doing what you can.
It's remarkable
Let's do
that down in Youngstown, you let a house go like this, they tear it down.
Yeah.
Here, Bob, people are telling me our property values are going down.
Right.
I don't know.
All right, that's all I can think of.
Okay, thank you. But, Anthony, can we take any action legally?
What I'm going to look at is if we were to create an ordinance that would address, I don't know what we can do, but I'll look into an ordinance. Now, the problem with that is going to be, would he be grandfathered?
Oh, yeah.
And would he be able to do anything? That's what I'll research. If I can come up with something, because I know in about 2 or 3 months there'll be another full house. Why it's been a year? Why hasn't council done anything?
Yeah, and the weather's going to start getting bad again.
Right. So I'll look. I'll see if I can come up with something.
And that would end up being in the zoning code, which, right, that takes forever for that to happen.
Yeah. But at least, we can try something so the villagers know that you're trying.
Can we continue to fine him? Can we fine him daily?
It's written as a daily fine, but we were told that it's very difficult to enforce. That's a separate offense every day.
Well, are we...
There are other things in our zoning code, or actually in all of our entire code, that are unenforceable. They do exist.
But, Dave, are we tallying how many days,
No, we have not.
That's a very typical thing, though, in zoning codes everywhere, that a daily fine for... So why is it hard to enforce if it's so standard?
It'd be very simple to tally just the day of the citation.
Absolutely.
That's easy. It's easy to tally the amount if we would.
Yeah, let's do that.
Maybe we should try that.
That's true.
I mean, we should try the amount.
By date and how much, and total that up, and send it.
Exactly.
And who levies the fine? Is it
Court.
Struthers?
The court.
We need to ask Struthers to start levying the fine.
Lanzo isn't very...
They won't levy a fine until the case is over. See, he's accumulating fines. Yeah, because as of right now, he hasn't pled and he hasn't been found guilty, so you can't give a punishment like a fine and whatever it is, probation, until there's either been a plea or a hearing and finding of guilt. So until that happens, you can't collect any money. You just keep tallying the fines until the end of the case.
Well, isn't that what Dave is doing now?
Well, right here, here's where it starts, 18 June 2013. Poland Village Council declared a nuisance of his property. So there you go. That's.
And how much a day?
I think it's between $5 and $100. I don't know it offhand. I mean, I can find it.
I think we can get his attention if somebody with some muscle, took this to the legal authority. But Lanzo is not going to do anything, maybe, right?
I don't know what he'll do.
Yeah.
I'll go.
Till we go to a different court. Can't. Because that's
But I'll go to the next pre-trial. I'll say what we wish, and I'll let council know what's going on.
Okay.
The only other thing I can think of is what happened before, maybe some media attention. He didn't respond very well to it, but at least his name appeared in the paper. There could be an article saying that Poland Village Council continues to deal with this lack of action on this owner's part. I don't know. That would be up to the press to decide too, I guess.
Well, we can do that. But, I think his brother, you say his brother's, he's a
That's what I was told.
professor at Marshall Law School.
Yeah, I believe you are correct.
Yeah. I mean, he's got knowledge behind that. Well, but I'm glad you brought that up, because we talk about it every week, and it gets to be old hat, It's pitiful. Bob and I go by there every day, and what are we going to do? I don't know. Okay, but the ball's in your court now, Anthony. You're going to see what you can do.
I'll try.
Okay, thank you.
Any other residents like to say anything? All right. Any new business? Any old business? Motions, ordinances, or resolutions?
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3 readings to pass by emergency a resolution authorizing a donation to the American Legion.
Roll call?
Mr. Cassett?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Attorney Limmer?
Yes.
Mr. Major?
Yes.
Mrs. Sarnick?
Yes?
Mrs. Yap?
Yes.
I'd like to move a resolution authorizing the payment of $100 to the American Legion Post 15 for the Memorial Day ceremony and to declare an emergency.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Cassett?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Attorney Limmer?
Yes.
Mr. Major?
Yes.
Mrs. Sarnick?
Yes?
Mrs. Yap?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion for a renewal of our insurance policies, and this will cover everything, both property, automobile, the entire package that was presented to you. The amount renewing in on May 21st, 2015, and that amount will be $20,508.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any other motions, ordinances, or resolutions? Second and third readings. Presentation of the bills.
Make a motion that the bills be paid.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Questions from the news media? Remarks by council. Mr. Cassett. Mr. Donovan.
Second.
Mr. Major.
Really nothing.
Mrs. Sarnick.
Nothing.
Mr. Limmer.
No comments.
Break them all, Chris.
No comments.
All right. 8:06.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:06. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.
You can go talk to Rob.
I don't want the response.